Aliyu Sarkin Yakin Kefi, the famous horse rider. I stand to move the motion that a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal Capital Territory, FCT Satellite Towns Development Commission, Establishment Bill 2024 be read for the second time.
You may proceed.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill seeks for the establishment of Federal Capital Territory Satellite Towns Development Commission. This bill was first read on the floor of the Senate on Tuesday, 22nd October 2024. The aim of this bill is to establish the Federal Capital Territory FCT Satellite Town Development Commission. It is an initiative aimed at addressing the growth and infrastructure needs of the FCT satellite towns. The background of the bill: FCT is bounded by Nasarawa, Niger, Kaduna, and Kogi as contiguous states. Since its creation, the FCT has continued to be to see tremendous growth as Nigeria's federal capital territory. This rapid development has, however, come with a set of challenges, particularly to the satellite towns, which are all forced to accommodate the workforce of the Federal Capital Territory. The creation of the Federal Capital Territory has also continued to have significant socio-cultural, economic, and political impact on the surrounding towns and communities. While Abuja has become a hub for governmental, political, and economic activities, the neighboring towns to the FCT have continued to experience various challenges as they are all de facto extensions of Abuja. They continue to suffer from inadequate infrastructure, limited public services due to overcrowding and ever-growing population influx. While Abuja flourishes as the nation's capital center, neighboring towns continue to face underdevelopment as their local economies struggle to compete with the wealth generated in Abuja, thereby creating a stark economic divide. The key provisions of this bill: the FCT Satellite Towns Development Commission bill proposes the establishment of the FCT Satellite Towns Development Commission to cater for satellite towns that are to be determined by a 60-kilometer distance into all the contiguous states of the FCT from their FCT borders. Mandate: the FCT Satellite Town Commission shall have the mandate to ameliorate the infrastructure deficit, manage urban sprawl, and promote sustainable development within the satellite towns. Governance structure: the bill outlines the governance structure of the Commission, establishment of the different administrative units and needed location offices. Funding shall be on a first-line charge in line with applicable law. And this first-line charge will be that Federal Capital Territory will contribute, federal government will contribute, the contiguous states to the FCT will as well contribute. Rationale for the bill: the FCT Satellite Towns Development Commission is set out on the listed reasons. Housing deficit: the rapid urbanization of the FCT, which resulted in an acute shortage of affordable housing, has continued to cause a mass movement of people to the satellite towns, thereby creating informal settlements and slums. This has led to overcrowding, lack of basic amenities, and poor living conditions, which further exacerbate poverty within some of the towns in the contiguous states. Brain drain: many educated individuals in the satellite towns move to Abuja to access better jobs, job opportunities, and facilities, leaving behind a brain drain that hinders local development of the satellite towns. Limited to services. The satellite towns always have shortage of quality educational and healthcare services. While Abuja boasts of high-quality services, the surrounding towns struggle with inadequate facilities, leading to a disparity in health and education outcomes. Cultural clashes. The migration of different ethnic groups into the satellite towns has continually led to cultural clashes of different groups with divergent values and lifestyles, and that sometimes lead to tensions, especially when chasing scarce resources or competing for land and employment. Rise in crime and social tensions. The widening economic gap between Abuja and its surrounding towns has led to social inequalities, as those who have migrated into satellite towns often face poor living conditions, informal settlements, resulting in high levels of crime, social unrest, and inequality. Cultural homogenization. As people from the different parts of Nigeria flock into satellite towns, the rich cultural diversity of the surrounding towns often gives way to a more homogenized national culture, causing the marginalization of local cultures. Rural-urban migration. Towns surrounding the FCT have seen a drain of young, working-aged individuals to Abuja, leading to a decline in agricultural production, traditional craftsmanship, and other rural-based industries in these neighboring communities. If this bill is passed, will ameliorate the infrastructure deficit, manage urban sprawl, promote sustainable development within the FCT satellite towns. The Commission's role will include the development of essential structure such as roads, drainage system, healthcare services, education, social services, and public utilities as waste management. In conclusion, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the establishment of an FCT Satellite Towns Commission will be a conscious effort towards spreading development to all nooks and crannies of our nation. In view of the stated benefits and more, I urge you, all of you, my colleagues, to support this bill. And in supporting this bill, we will be doing justice to whom much is given, much is expected. These contiguous states have all had to make sacrifices for the FCT to be a reality. So it will only be fair for such a body to be established so that we give back to them. For instance, my emirate, Kefi Emirate, used to collect taxes up to Garki, this where we are seated. And so, for the sacrifices these states have done, the contiguous states, I beg of us that we pass this bill to justify and pay back for the sacrifices done by these contiguous states. Distinguished colleagues, thank you so very much for listening, and I hope you fly with me. I love you all.
Senator Mohammed Adam Ali.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to second this very important bill to the extent that the Satellite Development Agency in FCT should be upgraded to a commission to accommodate all what has been said in the lead debate. In fact, Mr. President, the Satellite Development Agency has been established as far back as 1987. It is meant to develop all the satellite towns, provide infrastructure so that the city can be decongested. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the federal capital city is not supposed to accommodate more than 750,000 people when it was conceived. But due to population boom, due to influx of people into the Federal Capital Territory, the city is now having more than 5 million people. And quite a number of these people are living outside the Federal Capital City. And the satellite towns have no infrastructure. Budgetary provisions are grossly inadequate. In fact, it is only the FCT budget that is funding the satellite towns. But the FCT budget doesn't include funding of satellite towns. So for this reason, Mr. President, I support this bill. When you talk of satellite towns, we're talking about Buari, we're talking about Abaji, we're talking about Kwali, we're talking about Karu. And these are the towns that are within the FCT. But what the lead debate is saying, extending the satellite towns to a perimeter of 60 kilometers. Mr. President, that will offend the provision of the Constitution, because the Constitution has already stated what FCT is, including even the satellite towns. It doesn't include anything outside what the Constitution has said. So I support the second reading of this very important bill, and I urge all my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Please, Mr. President, I do not support that this bill should be read the second time for some reasons that is clear. Mr. President, we are already working on the North Central Development Bill, and this bill is like showing that these satellite cities does not belong to the North Central. We can't be making laws that are contradictory or just doing academic exercise. We have North Central Development Commission, which we have debated in this chamber. Coming back to debate another development commission for an area that is already covered in the other bill, I don't think it makes sense. Also, since there is an agency in the FCT that is saddled with the responsibility to develop the satellite towns, I will support what the former FCT minister said. The sponsor of this bill can withdraw it, make the necessary amendment, and represent it. But coming here to pass a bill to establish FCT Development Commission, I don't think it's the right thing for us to do here. I thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I pray you listen to me. My name is Senator Patrick C. Ndubeze representing Imo North. I want to explain certain or bring to bear certain knowledge or understanding about this FCT, so that we will follow or pass a bill that will not make us to look or will not be contradictory. I've been here for a long time and I've been part of FCT. Please, Mr. President, we have FCDA, Federal Capital Development Authority. Mr. President, we have STDA, Satellite Town Development Agency. But however, because of management and funding, the agency was brought down to be a department, STDD. And when the same work they were doing as agency, that's what they are doing now as STDD, as a department in FCT. And in FCT, we have the Health Secretariat, Education Secretariat, Agri Secretariat, and all the rest of them. So we can no longer come up to create commission that will supersede all of them, because there will be issue of commissioners and all the rest of them. In FCDA, in the FCT, they have not gotten anything commissioned. Rather, we have mandate secretariats, education, health, and all the rest of them, and they are being taken care of by mandate secretaries. So what I am saying is his bill is good, but it has to be restructured to be called Satellite Town Development Agency, which we have had. They have no work to do with financing education. It's all majorly infrastructure. They have engineering department, planning, survey, and all the rest of them. I have the company I chair before coming to the Senate. They have.
Thank you. Your time is over. Thank you very much. Because Andrew, just 1 minute, 1 second remaining.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this, and we should go by that name, Satellite Town Development Agency, which they have had in the past, but was brought down to department. And when we go by this, the structure is already existing. And their work, I have said, will go by the department they have there. They have different departments there. There is nothing like commission in FCT. If we go by that, we'll be derailing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Actually, just like the Secretary Secretary said, this is a constitutional matter. The FCT is FCT with very clearly defined boundaries. Those satellite towns of the FCT are those satellite towns that are within the constitutionally recognized boundaries of the Federal Capital Territory. To extend it outside will mean amending the Constitution. And then making a recognition of those places like Mararaba, Kelfi, and several other towns in Kaduna and other states, Kogi and other states. You know, that means we are overreaching the powers of that we have on the, because we are the legislature of the FCT. We are the legislature, you know, of the FCT. Now, another difficulty that we have with this particular bill, you know, is that, you know, when you establish the North Central Development Commission, that North Central Development Commission is supposed to benefit those states like Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, some of whose towns are likely going to come within the purview of that FCT. So we have to be very, very clear about the boundaries that we are talking about.
In other words, you are saying the North Central Development Commission is taking care of this issue.
It's taking care of those other satellite towns that are there. And like Senator Aleru has said, there is a satellite town development agency of the FCT. Now, if you want to set up a commission, being the legislature of the FCT, that is the kind of agency that we can convert into a commission that will get its funding from the funding, first line funding of the FCT itself. So we can amend we can make a law for that agency to be converted into a commission and then give them the power of collecting first line charge from the FCT account. But extending the boundaries of Abuja satellite township to include townships in other states, I think that one will be unconstitutional and an overreach by the Commission. But I have really no objection against the principle behind the bill. But we have to be very careful about its constitutional implications. Thank you.
Senate.
I rise to support this bill. FCT Abuja is the fastest growing city in Africa. Therefore, whether we like it or not, a lot of people live in Mararaba, all around, even in the satellite towns of the FCT, there are no infrastructure. There isn't anything to accommodate the influx of people into Abuja on a daily basis. Let me give you an example. If the satellite development agency is upgraded to a commission, it would take care a lot of the low-income people who work in Abuja, live in Mararaba, Masaka, all the environs of FCT. There's not inadequate housing within the Federal Capital Territory to accommodate them. That's why you have all the slums that we have. There's no infrastructure. But if this commission exists, it will take care of the lower income people who do not have houses in Maitama and Asokoro and Wuse and Garki, who move out and out and out. And of course, technically, they are in other states, but they will tell you, we live in Abuja. They do not live in Abuja. New Karu is in Nasarawa. Mararaba is in Nasarawa. If you go to the other side, it has entered Kaduna or Kogi or even Niger State. So I wholeheartedly support, we will work out the modalities of the Constitution, but that commission is critical. FCT, we all live here, all the agencies are here, all the MDAs, all of them are here. So it does not make sense for us to ignore the realities of having so many people living in the capital. And the capital isn't just the few districts that have been developed. Kuje, Garki, all the Kuje, Abaji, all those places, and even outside of those places, they still need that development. So I rise to wholeheartedly ask my colleagues that this commission is really critical to the well-being of the Federal Capital Territory. So I ask you all to please support it. I so submit.
And from the lead debates, the intent of this bill is to see how FCT can augment the sufferings of the satellite towns, including the border towns. And I believe that is the reason why in the lead debate, the presenter was talking about contributions from states. Looking at the sponsor, looking at the way the influx of people within the satellite towns, majority of the people works in the FCT. Due to this influx, a lot of infrastructural facilities were overstretched. They were overstretched and most of them made obsolete because over time they are no longer working. I can cite example with Suleja, I can cite example with Buhari, the new Buhari, I can cite example with Zuba. All those cities or satellite towns are in Niger State, but majority of the people that lives around there, they are working in FCT and they pay their taxes in terms of pay to FCT, not even where they are residing. So as such, there is a lot of burden. And with the coming of such bill, I think it's necessary for us to look at how we can augment the haphazard structure that have been established. Why I said haphazard, you cannot let your people be in a particular place and you are not doing anything for that area. Nothing is allocated to those places. If you go, there are no roads, no schools, no clinics, and yet majority of these people that work in the FCT resides in those places. So it's not about doing roads for Buhari, Abaji, and the rest, and then Ukuje, and then forgetting about Suleja, forgetting about Zuba, Okaru. There is need for us to look at this bill and give this bill the needed attention so that we can correct the anomalies that is there. So I plead with my colleagues to support this bill so that it can go for the second reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Go around. The Committee on Finance, in conjunction with the leadership, decided to invite the chairman of FRLS and experts in tax laws to come down here to brief us about the tax bill. And that was scheduled to hold at this period. And the chairman is around waiting, as well as the experts who are going to brief us, clause by clause, brief us on each of the clauses of the bill. It's a kind of interactive session, and whoever has any question about the bill, such person can ask, so that we can have more explanation from the chairman as well as the consultants who are going to be around with us. So it is this respect that I want to discontinue this debate. We're going to I'll allow the leader to make just 1 minute. Minority leader, he wants to, you have the privilege, make your contribution. And so the Patrick is very much concerned. I give you half a minute so that we can, 1 minute, so that we can round and put the question. No, you speak. You speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I do not support that this bill should be read the second time for some reasons that is clear. Mr. President, we are already working on the North Central Development Bill, and this bill is like showing that these satellite cities does not belong to the North Central. And we can't be making laws that are contradictory or just doing academic exercise. We have North Central Development Commission, which we have debated in this chamber. Coming back to debate another development commission for an area that is already covered in the other bill, I don't think it makes sense. Also, since there is an agency in the FCT that is saddled with the responsibility to develop the satellite towns, I will support what the former FCT minister said. The sponsor of this bill can withdraw it, make the necessary amendment, and represent it. But coming here to pass a bill to establish FCT Development Commission, I don't think it's the right thing for us to do here. I thank you, Mr. President.
It's waiting for us, and we need to receive them. This bill, everybody agrees that is something that is necessary, that intendment is good, but probably how it's going to be configured is a problem. So that has been raised by the former Senate leader and some others that contributed to the debate. So I believe that we should give it that opportunity to move forward, and then at the committee stage, the way it's going to be configured will now be decided. We don't kill the baby with the bathwater. Since we understand that intendment is germane, is apt, so let's allow it to move forward, and then when it gets to the committee stage, then whatever decision that's going to be taken in terms of how it's going to be configured, that will be done at that stage. And of course, when the report is brought to the floor of the Senate, we'll look at how the committee is going to do the entire thing, and if it's okay with us, then we can pass it. But it's not in tandem with the Constitution, or it doesn't go well, it's not sensible, it's not okay, then of course we can get it aborted. So it's on this note that I put the question. Those in favor that the bill be read the second time, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. It's hereby referred to the committee on the FCT to report back within 2 weeks. Let me commend Senator Wadada Aliu for bringing forward this bill. It shows the passion you have for the development of the FCT, and indeed the surrounding states. But as I said earlier, the problem is about how the bill will be actualized. And this can be sorted out at the later processing of the bill. And I do hope that the committee will do the best work in packaging the bill so that by the time the report is brought to the Senate, the best manner possible in terms of the configuration will have been sorted out. And I hope that once your intention is actualized for FCT and the entire state surrounding the FCT, it will be good for all of us, it will be good for the country. Thank you very much, Senator Wanada Aliyu.